Okay, guys, welcome back to All Nerd Everything. If you are new to my channel, I discuss your favorite films, TV shows, comic books. I want to be that guy for you. I want to be your film guy, your television guy, your comic book guy, wrestling, even whatever it is that you enjoy. I discuss. But I should have done this video a a couple of weeks ago, but for some reason I just kept putting it off, and it's about to be April, so why not discuss everything I watched in the month of February? I keep forgetting that it's March because April is about to come up. I keep thinking it's April for some reason, but it's not. And Sinners is about to come out next month, and I'm probably going to watch that like 5 times. So yeah, I'm excited for that. So everything I watched last month, I'm going to start with the documentaries, and I'm going to try to breeze through this as quick as I can so I can get to, the film. Starting with the documentaries, We Were Kings. You can find this on HBO Max. No, I am not calling it Max. I hate it. I hate that. Just because they shorten the first 3 letters of it, or just cut it off, does not mean I'm gonna call it what they want me to call it. It's HBO Max. But anyway, the premise is it's 1974. Muhammad Ali was considered past his prime. Fights heavyweight champion of the world George Foreman, who was 10 years younger than Muhammad Ali. Rest in peace, George Foreman, by the way. And this just details the build up to the Muhammad Ali George Foreman fight, and a lot of people doubted Muhammad Ali because George Foreman was the best in the world at this time, and Muhammad Ali was getting a lot older, but he was still, very slick with it, very confident as ever. Watch this, guys. They highlight this in the Ali film with Will Smith, which is a great film in of itself. But watch the documentary if you want exact details of how this fight came to be. And I gave it 3.5 stars. So yeah, We Were Kings, HBO Max. Next, I watched American Dream, American Nightmare. I found this on Hulu, and the premise is director Antoine Fuqua, who did the Equalizer films and Training Day. He sits down with Suge Knight as he reveals his upbringing and the rise and fall of Death Row. And I gave this 3.5 stars. Now, we always usually see Suge Knight in a very differently in how he's depicted, and this one shows a lot more, I'd say a lot more empathy towards him, even his upbringing as well, and just him just trying to, you know, have a good life and actually take care of his friends and family, even though a lot of people might not consider what he does very, ethical. But yeah, I would definitely watch this because it definitely paints him in a different way than we're used to seeing. And next documentary I watched was Harriet Tubman, They Call Her Moses. I watched this on Amazon Prime. I gave it 3.5 stars. I don't really have too much to say about this. It's just a documentary detailing, Harriet Tubman, and her effect on the Underground Railroad. So yeah, check it out on Amazon Prime. Next, I watched Freaknik: The Wildest Party Never Told on Hulu. Now, the premise for Freaknik is a celebrity exploration of the boisterous times of Freaknik, the iconic Atlanta street party that drew hundreds of thousands of people in the 80s and 90s, helping put Atlanta on the map culturally. Also, I had to write all of these down just because I think this is way more informative to have everything I read, everything that I watched written down rather than in my notes app. But Freaknik I always was aware of Freaknik, but I didn't know the specifics of how it started, what the impact of it was on my city, Atlanta, and just, how it also had a lot of effect on a lot of the hip hop artists and even hip hop producers like Jermaine Dupri, Outkast, and a whole bunch of other hip hop artists as well. And to see Freaknik go to a safe place that a lot of black people can go to just have fun with their fellow with their friends and their families. It turned into a very dangerous dangerous part of the year where a lot of men from out of town would go to Atlanta during Freaknik just to inappropriately touch and grope on women, which practically shut down the whole Freaknik because it was getting so out of control that they had to. I mean, they had to shut the shit down. But even they pointed out in the documentary that in on a lot of the MTV shows that where they would go to Florida or California or whatever the hell they were doing a lot of spring break, like MTV spring breaks, like a lot of white people were doing way worse stuff than that, and they were getting away with it. And I think this just shows that a small percentage of people can ruin something that can be potentially great. So watch Freaknik on Hulu, the documentary. Very informative about the impact of the culture of Atlanta and also just hip hop artists as well. And next documentary I watched, well, the last documentary I watched was Daughters, and you can find this on Netflix. Now, I'm kind of iffy on, depending on what the subject is, I will watch a documentary. And a friend of mine recommended this to me because he was telling me that he thought that this should have been nominated for an Oscar for best documentary. He watches everything. He watches the international features, the short films. I mean, he watches pretty much everything, and he recommended this to me. You can find this on Netflix, and the premise is four young girls prepare for a special daddy-daughter dance with their incarcerated fathers as part of a unique fatherhood program in a Washington D.C. jail. This freaking broke my heart. This was so sad to watch these little girls practically grow up for years without their father being in physical contact with them. And just I think the saddest part was when they finally get to see their fathers in prison, and them slow dancing with their fathers and just catching up with them. The worst part was them saying goodbye, and even the greetings with their daughters was just so emotional because I mean they haven't seen their daughters in so long, and sometimes a lot of them couldn't afford to a lot of them couldn't afford to pay to speak to their fathers virtually on the screen because there's this, I don't know, I guess this took place during COVID or something like that, where everyone had to like pay virtually to speak to their loved ones that were in prison or jail, and a lot of them just couldn't afford it, which was just very heartbreaking. I almost teared up a few times during this documentary, so watch that. And those are the documentaries I watched for last month, and I only watched one short film for last month, and that short film was Two Distant Strangers, and you can find it on Netflix. It's just Groundhog's Day, but with a black dude having a run-in with a racist police officer that keeps, if you know what I mean, and he just wants to get home. And it stars Joey Badass, Yeah, he just wants to get home after spending a night from his girlfriend, and he tries different ways of trying to avoid the cop to get home, but it keeps getting worse and worse. He even tries talking to him, but that doesn't work. And the way this film ends, I mean, short film ends, is just on some bullshit. It's just, oh my god, it leaves it open ended. And plus, when this short film came out, there was a lot of controversy because it was a lot of people were saying that it's an exact copy of another short film that came out that has the exact same premise of it. But I don't really care because this I gave this 2.5 stars. I thought it was just eh. I mean, what am I supposed to learn from this? Groundhog's Day with a black dude that keeps getting harassed by a white racist police officer. I mean, who is this for? Yeah, I might have to go back and change my rating actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I'm getting irritated. But that's the only short film I watch, and that's my list of documentaries. But on to the films that I watched, and Companion being one of them, starring Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher. And the premise is a billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to his lake house estate. And I gave this 3.5 stars. I think I already said that, whatever. But this film, God, I really wanted to love it. But I think if I didn't see the trailer for the film, which pretty much gave away the whole film, which I shouldn't have even watched the trailer because trailers nowadays give you pretty much everything. If there was if there was more like icing on the cake other than what we saw from the official trailer, then I think I would have liked it better. But based on what I saw from the trailer, I saw the film before I actually saw the film, if that makes sense. I mean, Jack Quaid has excellent chemistry with all of his leads, from Melissa Barrera and two baddies this year as well, with Sophie Thatcher and Amber Midthunder. So I thought this was okay. I definitely should have hid a lot of stuff in the official trailer. So yeah, I'll go back and watch it. I thought it was decent. But next I watched Inside Man, and you can find this on Peacock if you guys want to watch it. The fourth collab between Spike Lee and Denzel Washington. And this is probably my second favorite out of the other films that they've collaborated on. But the premise is when an armed masked gang enter a Manhattan bank, lock the doors, and take hostages, the detective assigned to effect their release enters negotiations preoccupied with corruption charges he is facing. I am a big fan of thrillers, crime thrillers. I'm a big Martin Scorsese fan, and this definitely felt like Martin Scorsese is. And yeah, Inside Man, I feel like a lot of people don't talk about this film enough. It's a criminally underrated film in Denzel Washington's filmography. You guys need to watch it if you haven't watched it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I gave it 4 stars as well. And I also watched Kind of Pregnant. I already discussed this, the Amy Schumer film on Netflix. I gave it 1.5 stars. If you saw the poster of this film, you can pretty much imagine what the premise of the film is before you even watch it yourself. But yeah, what is there to say about Amy Schumer? I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean that she's not funny, that she doesn't make me laugh, she doesn't tickle my funny bone, because everyone thinks that. So the only reason it gets 1.5 stars is because everyone in the film, other than her, made me laugh, and that is including the people that weren't necessarily comedians per se, but Damon Wayans Jr. plays her ex-boyfriend, and I wanted to see more of him. I, Even he couldn't save the film. This was atrocious. I did not hate it because I knew exactly what I was getting myself into, because it's an Amy Schumer film, for God's sake. So yeah, this was just the bottom of the barrel. So yeah. Next, I watched Riff Raff, and the premise is a retired hitman's life is turned upside down when his ex-wife and son arrive unannounced during the holidays because they are on the run from his former mob associates. Now, I gave this 3.5 stars. I was actually given an early screening for this film, and this has a star-studded cast with Jennifer Coolidge, Gabrielle Union, uh, got Ed Harris. God, I'm blanking. Bill Murray, Pete Davidson. This film is not only hilarious, but it gets serious in a lot of sections of the film. And there's a few twists in here that I didn't see coming at all, which added to the intensity of the family dynamic. So yeah, I would definitely go see this, guys. It's criminally underrated. Next, I watched The Wood, which is streaming on Peacock if you guys want to watch it. And this is considered a cult classic in the black community. It came out one of the best years of film, which is 1999. I gave it 4 stars. This was absolutely hilarious. Definitely need to sit down and watch it again. And maybe I should do a list of my top 10 films of 1999. I don't think it's the I don't think it's one. I definitely think it's one of the best years in film. It's not the only one. I also think 2004 was great. 2022 was great. There are a lot of great years, but 99 was definitely one of them. And The Wood would definitely be in my top 10. So check this out, guys. Absolutely hilarious. Next, I watched My Dead Friend Zoe. And the premise of that is inspired by a true story. U.S. Army Afghanistan veteran thanks to the presence of her dead best friend from the army is at odds with her strange Vietnam veteran grandfather and her VA counselor. And this just has to deal with, PTSD, mental health, and, God, just a bunch of other depression, just a bunch of other stuff. It also has Morgan Freeman in it. He's not in it for long. He plays the counselor that's trying to help the main character out with her, depression and her PTSD, and she's there on, just because of, court ordered stuff, because she got in trouble, so she has to be there. So yeah, this is kind of sad, and it definitely tugged on my heartstrings in a lot of parts of the film, and I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was decent. Will I go back and watch it? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not too sure. And the next two films I watched, Captain America: Brave New World, I gave that 2.5 stars. Go watch my review on that. So I don't really want to waste time talking about that again. It wasn't terrible, but I definitely do think that they did Anthony Mackie dirty by not making his first leading film actually make him feel like a lead. I mean, he definitely feels like a lead in this, but what I'm saying is that the first section of Captain America: Brave New World, like the first 30-40 minutes, feels like a Captain America film, and the rest of the film feels like the Incredible Hulk 2, featuring Captain America, which was a huge problem for me. So yeah, 2.5 stars. And next, I watched Conclave. The last thing I watched was Conclave, which you can find streaming on Peacock. And I really like the cinematography, the score, the costume designs, but this movie just wasn't for me. Wasn't my cup of tea. Wasn't my cup of tea. Um, I don't think I'll watch this again. It's just I just found it hard to really get into this film. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. But yeah, that's everything I watched in the month of March. I mean, the month of February, guys. Let me know what you think of my list, and you got any suggestions of what I should watch next. Until then, guys, don't forget to like, comment, hit the follow button to stay updated with more movie, TV show, and comic book news and reviews. And until then, I'll see you guys next time.